God, this light is so bad. Hi, everybody. Hello. I'm under the blanket because it is a bit chilly. The central heating was disconnected, so we are left to body. We are left to with self warming. Is that a thing? Basically, you understand what I mean. Hold on, let me check. Oh, hi, Aman. Hello. How are you? If you notice cats around me, please don't get scared. My cats are. I went outside, I walked the dog, the cat came with me outside, ran like this, left and right, and now the other cat is running, so please don't get scared. Uh, how are you, Aman? How is your Friday? How are you? I am good. I am very good as well. Finally, my voice. I cannot believe it. My voice is coming back slowly, slowly, slowly. You know, I had a cold and I couldn't speak at all. I went to work. Thank God everything went well. They thanked us for the good services. I'm working on a second blanket. I did start one last week and I messed up the edge. Like, look, so I decided I cannot gift such a blanket. So I decided to start again. But for the life of me, I have the same problem with the edge. I mean, it's the same number of stitches. That's a bonus, but it's not straight. Let me show you the other one, the other end. For the life of me, why? Sorry, guys. That's my cat teasing my dog. So I think ultimately after finishing the blanket, I'm just gonna have to make another stripe here, something like some finished edge, I don't know. So I'm doing a bit of crochet. It is much wider than the first version. Look, this is the double. I love it. It's so beautiful. It's gonna be such a beautiful blanket. My friend Corina, I'm making it for her. It's going to be a gift, a birthday gift, and she loves yellow. So I added all the yellows from my yarn collection. I mean, some cream, some light yellow, dark yellow, banana yellow, all sorts of. Oh, and my dog is here, of course. Of course. Hi, everybody. Hi. And my dog is going to keep looking behind to check if the cat is still here because the cat teases him and he's running after her. And by the way, over there, it's my cat's, one of my cat's little home. So Aman says, you are a very big artist. Thank you, Aman. Well, I'm still at the beginning, so we'll see. We'll see. Dimitri says hello. Vmilo says hello from Russia. Привет! Привет, Россия! Здравствуйте! Я тут вяжу чуть-чуть. So, where is my crochet hook? Hold on, I found it. Let's put it right here so that I don't miss it. Okay. Okay, Remy. Go. Go. Hey, Mangerino. Mangerino. Okay, I put a snack for him over there. Mangerino. That is the command for food. I just say mangerino. So, Vmilo says, вы русская. Нет, я из Молдавии. Chisinau, Chisinau, Moldova, Ukraine. Both your hair and your shooter. Your shooter. Alexander Alexandrovich says, how old is your dog? My dog is, I think 8 or 9. I'm very scared to think about his age. I learned from some of my friends that their dog died at 15 years old, so I'm very scared. He's around 8 or 9 years old. Misha, привет! Hello! Hi! Привет, привет и здравствуйте. А ты с какой страны? Молдова, Молдавия. Я из Молдавия. Ух ты! рад, очень рад. А вас как зовут? Меня зовут Кристина. Вымыло. А как вас зовут? So, я тут вяжу маленький желтый пледик. Это будет плед. Это будет подарок. Это начало и будет вот такой. То есть я не знаю, сколько лет мне нужно. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 25, 26, 27, 28. Okay, 1, 2, 3. So I'm at the end of the row. As you can tell, this is a chevron stitch blanket. Hold on, chevron. So, oh my God, what is happening in my house? Надя, Надюся, Наделина, Надя, Надичоку, Надя. Basically, this is my cat, Nadyusia. And my dog and my cat are just like this all the time. So yeah. But we are going to manage because, guys, it is Friday. I'm so happy. It is Friday. Oh my God, I'm so happy. So, мевочка, мевка. Привет. Дмитрий очень удивился, что понимаю ваш английский. О, спасибо. Теперь понятно, откуда славянский диалект. Okay, I don't really understand that, but okay. Александр Александрович, какой район Кишинева? Эфес, далеко завод? Эфес? Эфес это фабрика? Не знаю. Я живу на Ботанике. I'm over here. I'm so happy when people know about my city. Я так рада, что люди знают про мой город, про моего города, про мой город. Вмыло says меня Йосиф. Привет, Йосиф. Alexandra says you also have a nice cat. Thank you. I love her. She is, you see, she's there. She loves to climb, so she is always up and down. I have a second cat, Nikita. Надежда, Никита Хрущев и Надежда Хмельницкая. Nikita is more on the floor. He is with me outside with the dog. Дожотаро на ми. Do you speak Russian or English? I speak both. I speak English here because this is my channel where I knit, crochet, and I practice my English. I'm a translator, so you know speaking, but I also know a bit of Russian. My native language is Romanian. Wait, what was I? Where? Okay. Electric pea shooter, булька, барабулька. Спасибо. Дожотар. What is it? А что дожотару на минималках? Ах, changed Russian. Alexandra, do you speak Romanian? Yes, да, bună seara. Alexandra, Эфес рядом с ботаником, нам троллейбус 15 minutes. Good to know. I think I've been to Эфес when I was a student. Я была, наверное, у фабрики Эфес, когда я была студентом. Они организовали эти экскурсии, но даже не помню. Dimitri, English teacher. No, translator. I'm, wait, я знаю это слово. Я переводу, я переводчик, переводчик, транслейтер. Я перевожу с румынском на английском и с английском на румынском, иногда с греческим и французским, но не каждый месяц. English or Spanish, both. Conozco un poco de español, pero un poquito. Can you say something in Romanian? It sounds beautiful. Of course. Bună seara, doamnelor și domnilor! Eu și câinele meu, Remi, suntem foarte încântați să fim alături de dumneavoastră. De fapt, este vineri, este seară, e veselie, suntem împreună, suntem frumoși și sănătoși. Переводчик. Вот, я русский так боюсь использовать, потому что эти все детали я не знаю. И я путаю. Один раз я говорила с одна родственника, и она мне сказала, что ты работаешь? А я переводик. И она мне сказала, ты на машине? Потому что я сделала ошибку. Это переводчик, а я сказала переводик, то есть водитель. Okay. Why do you pet the dog so much? Well, my dog is like a Velcro dog. He likes to be touched a little bit, and then I give him the order for food, which is Remy, mandarino, come. So that is his order for food. Mandarino, ci si mangia. And then he just leaves me alone so that I can do like my 20-30 minutes of crochet or knitting. And this time it is crochet. So guys, I am making a blanket. Плед, да? Плед. So this plaid, this blanket is going to be a gift for my friend Corina. So let's start working. I am blobby, and no worky, so we have to switch it, worky and less blobby. Alexandra, wow, it was beautiful. Thank you so much, Alexandru. Mulțumesc, it means thank you in Romanian. So thank you very much. Mulțumesc frumos. Перевод. Yeah, you see, I don't know the difference. To me, для меня, я не чувствую разница. Я вижу перевозик. Translator is much easier. Okay, guys, I don't want to speak that much. Let's listen to some very interesting video. I discovered a very interesting comedian. His name is Josh something. And actually I discovered it thanks to one of the viewers. They said, since you like jokes so much, I was joking that if my profession of a translator doesn't work out, I will work as I will sell my crochet, my knitting, but I'm very slow. I'm not doing very beautiful pieces. So my third career option would be to be a comedian. And I'm laughing because I don't know so many jokes, but I'm listening to the comedians, and thanks to them, I'm gonna be a comedian. So since one of the viewers said, since you want to be a comedian, listen to this guy. And I love him. Okay, so his name is Josh Johnson. Okay. Biden, Karen. Okay, let's see the most recent video because I listened to one of the most recent videos. It was incredible. Okay, the only way to survive recession. I love it. Let's listen to that. Hold on.
Make some noise for Josh Johnson!
Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. I want you.
Talking to one of my friends, and
he's this cute guy.
He knew
in his 20s.
He knew his neighborhood was broke. Was when the bank closed.
Let me know if the volume is okay.
Pretty good indicator.
2, 3.
The bank holds that branch's money, and that branch is falling off. And said he went to the bank, and he basically just straight up asked the teller. He's like, "Hey, do you know why this branch is closing?" And she was like, "Are you here to make a deposit or withdrawal?" And he was like, "Withdrawal." And she was like, "Yeah, that's why. That's it in a nutshell. That's exactly what's happening. You do enough of that, and then there is no bank. We're just kind of a building with a little bit of parking." I don't know. I look back at the ups and downs I've had in my life. I've been broke off and on my entire life.
Same.
And there's a weird solace sometimes in being broke at the right time. Everyone thinks that the security is in having means and having money, but sometimes not being a part of the circus is its own solace in a weird way.
What?
You know that it's bad when you're really shopping at the dollar store. There are things anybody could use at the dollar store. You need a fly swatter, you might as well run up in the dollar store. You know what I mean? You need a dustpan, might as well run up in the dollar store. But if you're really shopping at the dollar store,
what is a dollar store? Everything is $1 over there?
I would go in the dollar store for stuff you shouldn't even be buying from the
So
dollar store.
I have to do one more. 1, 2, 3.
Even the cashier look at you like, "You sure?" I'm talking about where you have to get your meat at the dollar store. I knew I was in a bad situation when I went to a dollar store and was looking at that meat in the fridge, and I was like, because the meat at the dollar store, they don't go into specifics. You go to Kroger, Walmart, you go to Target, you go to any of these places, and you'll see the brand of the meat, and then you'll see, all of the little no preservatives ever, completely organic, all the stuff. When you go to the dollar store and you buy your meat, it just says the price and it says meat.
I messed up. Hold on.
And you're like, maybe if I don't ask any questions, it could be whatever I think it is. Because then, I also got a lot of stuff at the dollar store, even as a kid, that I look back and I'm like, that probably wasn't the best. Like a good example, if you know, when you shop at the dollar store, especially if you ever got toys at the dollar store, you know that dollar store toys are in a very specific, slightly copyright infringed arena of toy. Like you would have a G.I. Joe, but it doesn't say G.I. Joe. It just says soldier. And you buy the soldier, and it even got the setup like a G.I. Joe, like it stands like a G.I. Joe, but the legs a little too short. So some very long arms. I couldn't tell if the arms were long or the legs were short, and it doesn't have grip action. It says that on the front, grip action. It just has a hole. They didn't make a hand. They made a hole stub, and then this hole stub is what you go ahead and put the little toy gun through, but then they didn't really measure out the gun versus the hand, and so the gun is not in proportion at all. So it looked like this would blow his arm off if he tried to shoot it. But you bring it home and you're playing with it. And you're like, yeah, soldier, get him. And he's like, I'm gonna get him. Oh, I'm gonna get him. They getting it right now. Trust me. Trust me. Nah, they getting it. Look. Point me over here. Point me over here. No, it was terrible. It was very bad. It was horrible. You know, you would have.
Again with the commercials.
Yeah, those dollar store crayons. That's another one. It's
Are
a
they
very
$1?
specific type of drawing as a kid. Because those dollar store crayons, they melt in your hand. So you got to be quick with it. You got some imagination. It needs to come out now. Don't. You got to put those crayons in the fridge. I remember being around some of these Crayola crayon kids being like, your crayon's stale as hell. Y'all don't even freshen up your crayons. That's crazy. That's why your pictures stink. You know? My pictures smell like leftovers. I remember one of my favorite toys from the dollar store was like a Stretch Armstrong, right? But it was Stretch Armstrong. It would only stretch for like 3 days. You only got 3 good. After that, it would get hard. And if you tried to stretch it after it got hard, it would cut your finger open. I don't know what it was made of, but it was the most valuable, unmalleable thing. It was Play-Doh and adamantium together. No, it was crazy. And that's the thing too, is when you're growing up in this situation. For anyone who knows what I'm talking about from experience, then you also know that it's very hard to know that you're broke, especially if you're a kid. It's hard to know if you are surrounded by love. My family loved me so much, so much. They still do. I make it sound like that. Make it sound like there was a falling out. They still love me. But no, I was surrounded by love. I had my grandparents.
Oh.
And my mom,
my
dad's love. I had my aunt, my uncle's love. I had my cousin's love. I had so much love around me. When you're surrounded by that much love, you don't know that you don't have money when you have that much love until you meet somebody who has both.
And then you
hate. That is a curious experience. Like when you're like, oh, you got both parents and a pool? Okay, I think there can be upgrades to life. I see that now. To me, greed is a paradox because you want everything. Even if you have more than enough, even if you have so much that what you have is starting to hurt you in the long run. You see it with the way that hedge funds cannibalize whole companies. It's like, okay, everybody made some short-term profit, but now this thing that people used to love doesn't exist. You know? Like you take like a Southwest. Southwest, people used to love Southwest. Bags fly free. Affordable tickets. You just sit wherever. You don't have to wait for the person. Southwest used to be so fire because then you don't have to wait for the person to get to their seat and you don't have to get up for anybody. Do you know what it's like to just be in your seat on the plane? And everyone's almost here. There's a couple of stragglers. There's almost nobody coming down that aisle anymore. You even settle in. You're like, oh, I may not have a seat next to me. This may be the promised land. You get so comfortable, you're like, man, I might put my other leg over here. Southwest had a brilliant idea. And the bags were flying for free, which makes sense. The bags don't know where they're going. Why should I have to pay for this bag to have an experience too? And then greed, and then private equity, and then hedge funds, and then, shareholder meetings, and then dividends. All the things start to creep in. And it's like, maybe we'll stop doing everything that is why everyone likes us. Maybe we'll just be like the other airlines. They make money. But then you actually look at the people who fly Southwest and they were like, oh, y'all aren't nice enough to be like them though. Like, your seat doesn't even go back like that. Why would I pay for everything here that I pay for over there? That's crazy. And so then you see people plummet because they're making decisions based on money, but not money that they need, just more money that they might be able to get. You know? And there's only there's only so much that a business can grow. I understand a startup's passion, and that passion makes sense because the company just started. But after a while, it's like, do you really need to own everything? If the answer is yes, it's like, and they don't say it to us. They say it to each other. You ever get a hold of a recording of a closed door meeting and the way they talk about their own customers? You know, that's why greed is like a paradox. You're so greedy that then you end up cannibalizing your own company, your own efforts, yourself. You end up hurting yourself. American greed is another paradox because as much as we know that the millionaires and billionaires maybe got their money in a way that's a little nasty, we also kind of want to be them a little bit. Everybody wants their piece, but we know how bad it is. You know, there are people who I know who want to be billionaires. They aspire to be billionaires. But if you ask them to name like a good billionaire, it's a hard quiz. But they want to be the billionaire because they're like, no, I will be different. No, I will be different. How? You know, that to me is like a drug dealer saying, no, I'm gonna be different. Oh, how so? Oh, I only like sell drugs to bad people. How will you know that they're bad people? You know, word will get around and they'll buy my drugs and I'll be like, that's a bad guy. No, it's not going to be different just because it's you. That's the trick as well. No, it's different when I do it. It's different when it's me. It's different when it's for me. It's different when it's for my family. Right? So then you hear people talk about recession. That recession is coming. Recession is looming. And to be fair, people have said that since the last recession. Every year, I'm not an economist, but every year there's somebody that's like, it's coming. Get ready. Batten down the hatches. And so you're in this situation where, you know, people are very worried, and understandably so. Because it's not really about the money. Money is mostly like the conduit. Money's mostly the placeholder. There are people who find money to be a game, and for them, the number is the important thing. How much actual money they can stack and hoard is the real thing. I want to show how rich I am is the real thing. But for almost everybody else, it's about their survival. It's about taking care of yourself. It's about taking care of the people that you love. So when they hear that there's going to be a recession, they're not really thinking like, oh, the number will go down. They're thinking about food. They're thinking about housing. They're thinking about resources. You know, and the only way forward is with other people. We've proven that this thing doesn't work. And by this thing, I'm not just talking about like one specific system. I'm not talking about like capitalism. I'm not talking about anything like that. I'm talking about we've proven that a true rat race does not work. I can't believe the world watched Squid Game and was like, yeah, I think I could win the pot. The pot is the problem. You know? And then I think the other problem is that if you are pitted against people, if you're pitted against the other 330 so million Americans, then yeah, the odds look insurmountable. But when you see how many people are actually in your situation, and you see how many millions of people are just like you, and you put yourself on the same side as them, all of a sudden, all of the weight, it gets a little bit easier. You know, there are people around the world that will never have access to the things that we have access to that make it work. And so sometimes we stress, oh, how am I going to make it work? And it's like, the number one way is through community. Your future is your neighbor. There's no other way forward. And I know that can be scary. That's an idea where you have to lay down so much trust at the feet of people that you don't know. That's very scary because I've had good neighbors and I've had bad neighbors. I've had very bad neighbors. I had a neighbor who stole my trash can. It's the trash can. You could just put your trash in there too. Stole my trash can and lived next to me. Like I'm not gonna notice my trash can. And he was big too, and I'm pretty sure he sold drugs, so I wasn't gonna take my trash can back. But I was like, I will put my trash in my trash can over here though. Just because you stole the trash can doesn't mean I'm gonna get another trash can. It's a trash can, and trash goes in. You could put your trash over here, but then you wanted to put it in front of your yard. Okay, fine, whatever. I'm sure you have a gun, so I won't make a big deal of it. But I've had bad neighbors, and I've also had incredibly kind, incredibly sweet neighbors. I had neighbors that made any transition period I've been having in my life easier. I remember when I moved to Chicago, I was living in my first apartment. I had a neighbor that knocked on my door. I had been living there for like 2 days, and I didn't have stuff. I'm like this broke kid who just moved to Chicago with like 2 suitcases of like clothes and a couple of other things. And so knocks on my door, and it's like, hey, he's an older guy. And he's like, hey, I saw that you moved in. If you need anything or you have any questions.
Эта профессия будет вечной.
Shut up
Регистрируйтесь по ссылке. Всего за
already.
3 дня вы абсолютно бесплатно узнаете, что в этом году изменилось на рынке дизайна интерьера и как сегодня на нем стать дорогим специалистом. Как создавать современные планировки и
Shut
избегать типичных
up.
ошибок.
Trouble, you didn't. You were just cool with that. You know, I wish I would have knocked on your door a couple more times, right? I never forgot about that guy because even knowing that there was someone there if I was having a problem, it just made living there on my own a little bit easier. Just in the back of my head. Once again, we didn't even have that many interactions. I only knocked on his door a couple times. And the couple of times I knocked on his door, he needed help too. There was one time where we had in our building a chute for the laundry that nobody used. Nobody ever used it because it's not like it was one person. Do you know what I mean? Like, the chute for, this isn't Eloise. Like, it's weird that there was a chute for the laundry because it just went to the floor down there, and you'd have to go down there to wash your own clothes anyway. So I guess if you wanted to save yourself the weight of the trip, you could push all the clothes down and let them get nice and nasty, and then slip through the chute, and then hit the ground, and now it's got different stuff on it than the reason that you're washing it. So nobody used it. And nobody used it because it was nasty. And so then one day the actual building manager poured a whole bunch of like bug poison down it to try to like kill some of the bugs that had been living in there. And the bugs were like, you know what? I think we'll go everywhere else. And so then one day I came home and my apartment was just overrun with bugs, and it didn't make sense because I didn't even have stuff. I had a fork, a bowl, like it was kind of like a saucer. It wasn't a plate. It was a plate that you would put a teacup on. I didn't even have dishes to be nasty enough to have all these bugs. So I'm freaking out and I'm killing a bunch of bugs, and then I run over and I knock on his door, and when I open his door, he looks like me. He's like, you too? And both of us just knowing that we're both dealing with bugs was enough to make the whole thing easier. He helped me kill some of my bugs. I helped him kill some of his bugs. And we were both very upset with the building manager. I had another neighbor when I was living this like short little bit in this, I don't even know how to describe it. It was like, it was a house, but it was like, you know how there's it wasn't a duplex. Okay, the house I was living in was like perfectly split in two, right? To make 2 unlivable houses. Okay, so I wasn't staying there for long, but it was just 2 completely unlivable houses, right? And I had a neighbor that lived next to me where I moved in, and once again, this older lady, so sweet. Sweet as could be, knocks on my door, and it's like,
I'm running out of
I
battery.
saw that you just moved in. I wanted to, she had baked something, like old school, like out of the movies. She had baked something. She was like, I made you a little something, some muffins. I know moving is hard. I know sometimes you don't have anything to eat right after you move, so this is for you, right? And I was like, oh, I even know what to do. I was like, oh, thank you so much. And she was like, yeah, you know, I like to help people get their bearings, and just so you know, I just want to be the one to tell you so you don't have to find out on your own. There's a crackhead in the wall.
What? What? What does that mean?
And when you get that type of warning, it does make you look at the muffins twice. One has nothing to do with the other. But I was still like, oh. And she was like, yeah, we thought it was a bird for a long time. And then he started talking. And so if you hear anything in the middle of the night, just pound on the wall a couple times and he'll stop.
What?
I was like, okay. All right.
What?
Okay. And I closed the door and I sat in silence for the rest of the night. Waited to hear a noise that would never come. It wasn't until like months later I heard some scratching in the wall. And I was like, how do...
Hi, my name is Marion Mazou and I'm a jewelry designer. My specialty is to create woven beaded jewelry, which I sell in boutiques in Berlin, Paris, Brussels, and more. I'm a very visual person. I'm constantly inspired by what's around me. I'm particularly fascinated by the language of colors, the way they complement or the way they repeat each
Shut
other.
up. I was listening to some
I was
comedy.
like, how does somebody just live with it? Like, and so I knocked on her door, and she came to the door. She was like, you hear him too. And I was like, look, I know you lived here longer than me, but in case it is a bird, maybe we should call animal control. Just throwing it out there, right? And she's like, you can do what you want. I called animal control, and then they could hear the scratching too. And then they went ahead and went on the roof, and they said that they found a slight hole in the roof, and turns out it was a bird. It had been a bird the entire time, and I'm pretty sure it was a bird when she heard it, but maybe she just had the TV on. Maybe she was like, he's talking. Animal control leaves with the bird. I go over, I tell her it was a bird, animal control called the bird, and she was like, thank you so much. Seriously, thank you so much. That has been happening for like 8 months, off and on, and I was positive it was a crackhead.
In the wall.
And you know, I guess that's what a good neighbor does. You know, I guess a good neighbor lets you know nobody's in your wall. Because I think fundamentally the toughest thing people are facing right now is like a true way forward where they can trust other people to help them and take care of them. And I can't tell you to just blindly put your faith in people that you don't know, even if they live next to you. But what I can tell you is that most people return energy. Most people give like for like. So if there's a community that you want around you, all you have to do is be its founder. If you are the one knocking on your neighbor's door, letting them know you're here, if they need anything, they'll probably do the same for you. And it's so simple to build community. It's so much more likely that you're going to build community than you're going to become a billionaire. Jenny?
Really?
Both things are incredibly hard to do. They take a lot of hard work and everything, and one of them means everyone will hate you. You know? Because when you're broke as well, the thing that happens, I think, the most often is that we have a real misunderstanding of each other. The rich people that I've met in my life, no rich person I know feels rich. They feel comfortable. Now, they'll do whatever it takes to maintain their level of comfort, but they don't feel rich. They're like, no, I'm just comfortable. I'm just chilling. And you show them how much they make, and they're like, yeah, I gotta maintain, I got kids, and then you show them how much the rest of the world makes, and they're like, ooh. Okay, maybe we don't tell anybody how much I make. And the same thing, when you're broke, there's a genuine misunderstanding around the decisions that people make when they're poor, around the way that people think, because there's not the possibility of thinking past tomorrow, because you're not even sure you're going to get there. Do you know what I mean? When you really don't have means, when you really don't have money, you come off wild sometimes because all your requests are strange, because you're just trying to piece things together just so you can make it to the next day. You know? Like a good example is I used to work at a grocery store, and one time in the break room, we're eating our lunch, and this one dude opened his lunch and then just said out loud to everybody, "Hey, I made a hamburger at home, but oof, does anybody have a top bun?" Sir, they're always sold even. How did this happen? We look at money as paper, right? At least when it's in its physical form, it's this paper thing. But it's more than paper. There's fabric weaved into it. There's linen, there's cotton. It works the same way that society works. There's fabric that weaves all of us together. And there are people who have not been able to participate in the opportunities of making money or making their well-being out of these chances in the market the way that other people have. And so when you tell them that a recession is coming, they're like, "Oh, a what?"
Commercials go away.
Okay. I was already broke. Do you know what I mean? What is a recession to somebody who was on the street the whole time? I guess the best example I can give is one time I was at a party with my friends, and I fell in the pool. And falling in the pool at a party is one of the more embarrassing things you can do when it's not a pool party. If you fall in the pool at a party where people are just sort of standing around the pool and talking, you might as well have fallen off the roof. But I fell into the pool at the party, which is not just embarrassing, it's not just annoying because out now all my clothes are wet and everything. It's terrifying because I can't swim. You know what I mean? I'm not a swimmer in the way that I would like to be. And the way that I would like to be is to be able to survive. And so when it comes to swimming, I'm not only not a fan, I'm not efficient. And so I get in the water, and when you don't swim, and I don't just mean can't swim, I'm saying when you don't swim, like for fun or anything, being surrounded by water out of nowhere is very concerning. I didn't realize I had stepped into the pool until I was in the pool. So now what I feel like has happened is that I turned around and water surrounded me. And so I start doing what I think swimming is innately. I start fighting the water, right? I'm punching and I'm kicking and I'm like, "Get off me, water," but I'm in the water. But I'm like, "Get back, I don't want you over here." And that's not how water works. And so I'm sifting through the water, and it's almost like swimming, except I'm staying in place underneath it. So that is drowning. That's what drowning is. When you're swimming perfectly, but you're not going up above and you can't get your head up, you're not actually swimming. You're drowning, and it's also exhausting. You're fighting and you're punching, you're kicking, and you're moving,
believe you.
and you're doing a pretty good job of drowning. If you could get your head above water, this would be swimming. And if you could get your chest up, you could do that butterfly thing, now you're a swimmer. But I am over here, no more water. Get out of my face, right? So then it takes someone pulling me out of the water for me not to actually drown. And not right after, not soon enough after, but pretty soon after, we leave the party. And not as soon as you would like if you almost drowned. You know what I mean? Like and it's tough too, because like the dude saved you as your ride. So now he's doing you two favors, you know? And so then, man saves me, and my buddy pulls me out of the water, and now, we stay an extra 20 minutes because now he's got his MAC points for saving a life in front of everybody. That's what most embarrassing. The only thing more embarrassing than like showing a whole party full of people you can't swim is to be sitting there wet while the person that saved you tries to mac on somebody. Just like, yeah, I do what I can. Try to help out the people, when it doing my best. And it's like, also, my man didn't look. I'm not necessarily trying to give notes on being saved, but like, my man did jump in the pool and grab me and lift me up and swim me to the shore of the edge of the pool, right? This man just stuck his arm in and kept clawing at me until he got the back of my shirt. That's barely saving. Like, when I tell you that I'm over here, stop it, water, no, I don't want any more. And then he is over here, bow, bow, and he missed like 8 times. So he was punching me in the head while trying to save my life. And he finally hooks his hand behind my collar and pulls me up the way that a cat sort of lifts its kitten in its mouth. You know what I mean? Just sloppy. And then I'm also still fighting. I don't know what's pulling me up, so I don't know if that's more drowning. I don't know what the effects of drowning feel like. So now I'm not necessarily fighting his hand, but I am still fighting the water. And so if you were on the other side of the pool, it does look like I was drowning. He reached in, dunked me one more time just to be safe, and then pulled me up. Because I don't know that he's trying to help me. But when he finally pulls me up and I'm over here coughing up the water and everything, this man helps me get up out of the pool and then immediately sees the eyes on him and everything, sees the opportunity, and he's like, oh, yeah, you know, I do what I can. Also, I know he saved my life and everything, but also the fact that he didn't need to roll his sleeves up like that's, that was even more just worth it. Oh, yeah, you know, I tried. Now you sitting here wet, just like, can you wrap it up, get the number or don't? And so then me, him, and some of the friends head to his car once he's ready to leave, and his car won't start. Waited for nothing. Now, luckily, we were staying at his house, and luckily he did live close enough to the party that we could walk. It was like maybe, I don't know, like a mile and some change. It wasn't crazy. And so we start walking. As we start walking, it starts drizzling. And then it's drizzling a little bit more. Drizzling.
Why do so many people trust iHerb for their
Oh
health
my
and
God,
wellness products?
commercials,
We
stop
guarantee freshness.
it.
Buy direct from manufacturers and ship fast to your doorstep. So, fitness fanatics, stretchaholics, immunity boosters, weight shedders, light sleepers, dog mommies.
Dog
It's
mommy,
drizzling a little
mommy,
bit more,
mommy.
Drizzling a little bit harder, and then it really starts raining. And when it starts raining, all my friends did a different thing when it was raining. Like, I had one friend that did the turtle. Just walking, just trying to... And I get it, because he has some deep collarbones. He would have had 2 lakes on either side of his neck if he had just let the water hit. That would have been 2 puddles he had to carry. So I understand him trying to... And then I had another friend who was over here doing this, which genuinely pissed me off. That's one of the craziest things I've seen. You have 2 hands, one hand covering some of your head, but not even efficiently. Where's the distance management here?
Distance
You better put
management.
the hand on your head. Then I had another friend who just decided to lean forward because I guess he just doesn't want a wet front. He's just cool with it all hitting the back. And as it's raining and raining, my friend who's over here doing this turns to me because I'm just walking. I'm not doing any of this. I'm just walking normal. And they're like, oh, John, you must not mind the rain.
Remy, stop
I
it.
almost drowned 20 minutes ago. And that's what it's like when you're broke. You're almost drowning all the time. So when people try to scare you with talks of a recession, you're like, why would I? What? You're doing this. I'm already wet. And the way to ensure that you're going to be okay, the way to ensure that your family is going to be okay is by creating chains, by linking up together with other people, with other families. Because the way forward, your future, I guarantee you it's not in the market. There's a belief that, like, if I can just get enough ahead, maybe I'll pull some other people with me. And that sort of thinking is the reason that we as the people can be taken advantage of so easily when it comes to money. It's like, I can get you a little bit ahead. Oh, I'd like to be a little bit ahead, right? But the way forward, your future, I promise you it's in your neighbor. I promise you, there's no one that's going to take care of you like the people that are actually next to you. And it's kind of daunting to me. It does freak me out a little bit that there are so many people, every election, every year, no matter who's president, that expect the person in office to make them rich. Don't you know this is America? Do you know what I mean? Like, that's just not how it works. It's not how it's ever worked. You may like the person in office, you may not, but I guarantee you they're not going to make you rich. That's not how anything works. And don't get me wrong, I've had dreams before. I had a hard time getting to know people, and I had a hard time communicating with people. I'm an only child, and my mom wanted me to have friends so I wouldn't be crazy. And so, as a single parent with one kid, my mom, the only thing she knew how to do was go ahead and take me over to her other single parents' friends' houses where they had one kid, and she was like, maybe y'all will just play and not be crazy together.
Makes sense.
And sure enough, there was a time in my life where my parents got back together, and so we were a two-income household, so I started to get the good toys, right? The real good toys. I'm talking WCW, NWO, wrestling toys,
Oh
Sting,
my
Goldberg,
god,
Kevin
they want
Nash.
to eat you up.
And sure enough, you know, I remember I got those toys. Those are some of my favorite toys in the world because I didn't know ankles had come out yet. I would hold up my Kevin Nash and I'd be like, bow, 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 look what he does. Bow, 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 bow. He had knees, he had ankles, he could do this. That's crazy. I was used to this only. Maybe if you were getting fancy, some of this, but I wasn't used to this. This thing right here, this is crazy. Real shoulder movement, my mind was blown. Look at what this thing can do. Bow, 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 right?
Guys, I think I'm gonna go because my dog doesn't let me crochet.
And her friend had a kid. And
Let's finish the
I
row
went
at
ahead and
least.
brought over two of my toys. I brought my Kevin Nash and I brought my Sting because I'm trying to make a good impression. And so we're talking. They're talking. And finally, we go to his room to play. And my mom leaves to go run some errands or something. And I quickly realized after my mom left that he was crazy. He was genuinely crazy because all of his toys, every single one of his toys, didn't have a face. None of his toys had faces. I don't know if he was chewing them or if he was burning them, but they were gone. And so he looked at my Sting toy and he was like, oh, we have the same one. And I was like, I don't see how that's possible. I don't see how that's possible. And then sure enough, this kid pulls out his Sting toy, and I know we have the same toy because the Sting had the jacket. The jacket you could put on, you could take off and everything. And so we're playing, and I'm trying to be a collaborative new friend, right? I'm like, what do you want to do? You want to do Legos? You want to do, like, wrestlers, whatever? And then we decide Legos. So I was like, you want to build a castle? You want to build a wall? What do you want to do? So we decided to build a castle, right? And then this kid, we're halfway through the castle, maybe 100 pieces to go. And this kid grabs the castle, lifts it up, throws it against the wall. It explodes into like 190,000 pieces. And I'm like, what did you do that for? And he goes, don't talk to me. And I was like, oh man, yeah, chill, Satan, chill, okay? Back up, devil, okay? Because I had been prepared in case the situation happened, because I knew I wasn't a crazy only child, but I knew there were other crazy only children out there. So I already had my thing on me, right? I had that lance in my back pocket. I was like, don't you come near me. I will cut you open. This thing is 6 weeks old.
Stop pushing my hand.
It's mine. The prices blow my mind. I feel so rich. I feel like a billion.
Okay, let's take a break so that we can pet my dog so that he can let me crochet. Shut up with the commercials. Wait, I didn't subscribe to Josh Johnson. Let me subscribe.
Hey friends, I was actually off the road last weekend, so we're still dropping an unreleased set, but stay tuned afterwards because I'm going to be answering some of your questions from the
About Elon
See,
Musk. Let's listen about Elon
the
Musk.
Civil War taking place. All right, if you haven't heard, that's fine. That just means you live in a functional life because,
Yeah.
because what
Thank
I'm talking
God.
about happened on Twitter. Elon Musk.
I don't
came
even
through
have a
and was
Twitter.
like, hey,
Guys, do you have Twitter? I don't have Twitter.
we actually really need in America H-1B visas. And these H-1B visas are how people from other countries come here and have I mean, pretty great jobs by some standards. These are like sometimes developing jobs, some of the engineering jobs,
Mandarino?
and like just stuff of that nature. This isn't like one of your regular visas, and it's not like a visa that we have with a specific country. Like there are E3 visas that we have with places like Australia because they're white, and that's like
Mandarino?
that's a thing that we have with lots of different countries. So there's a certain amount of visas that are agreements between the countries, and we don't have it with every single country in the world, but even with like Uganda, we might have a few that are these specific visas that Ugandans can get or something, as an example, right? But the H-1Bs have a lot to do with jobs because with your H-1B visa, if you lose your job, right, you have to leave. But Elon is like, these H-1Bs are actually great, and Vivek Ramaswamy is also like, these H-1Bs are fantastic, right? Now, the reason that billionaires like H-1B visas is because people who are very talented from other countries will come, and they're usually, not always, but a lot of times are sending money back to their home country for their family, right? And so they, due to the exchange rate, don't really have the same amount of demands as an American worker. Like an American worker, 100 grand, it means something different here than it means to someone coming here, right? 100 grand, you might still be like, okay, I'll have a place to live, but I won't be able to do much. I can't take a vacation. If I get hurt, I'm immediately going to go into medical debt because I don't have insurance. Like 100 grand is a lot of money, but you're still thinking about how you're going to move through life as an American, right? But if you're coming from somewhere, especially if you're coming from somewhere where this is the biggest opportunity you've had up until this point, you're thinking 100 grand. Okay, look, I can have roommates. I don't care about having roommates. I'll have as many roommates as it takes to keep as much of that 100 grand after taxes that I'm going to keep in my pocket, so that way I can send money home, and the money that I send home to the exchange rate is fantastic, right? So now I can maybe even retire my parents off of this 100 grand, 120 grand job back where I'm from. So when they come over here, they are working these like crazy hours. Like we're talking like 80-hour work weeks, fluctuations, and what the job description is and stuff like that. And they don't complain, because if they complain, they could be fired. And if they get fired, they're immediately deported. They start all over again, right? So that's why
Sisi manja?
Elon and Vivek love
Manja?
H-1B visas.
Mandarino?
So MAGA as a
Oh my
movement
God, my
is very
shoulder.
upset with this sort of thing, because the whole idea of Trump winning and Elon and Vivek making that department
Who is
of government efficiency,
Vivek?
which is only named that so that it
Elon
will be
has
called
a second
Doge,
buddy?
which is low-key one of the most unserious things I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, that was when I was like, oh yeah, we're cooked, man. That's very bad. That, y'all, if you had gone back 20 years and told somebody that eventually there would be someone, I mean, these are like made up jobs. Like Trump would actually have to do what they say to make them official. Right now, they don't even really exist in theory, right? It's just an idea of what might happen. I mean, who knows now? But like if you went back 20 years and you told someone eventually there would be a government body that only had its name so it could be the acronym CAKE.
I love cake. I would love that
I'm sure that
government
person
body.
20 years ago would ask, when did all the smart people die? and so Vivek tweets and Elon tweets, and everyone, I don't know, it's so bad. Okay, so basically, MAGA sees the H-1B visas as like taking American jobs, and not in a Mexican immigrant way. Not in the way of like, they're coming over here and they're selling fruit. I didn't really want to sell fruit anyway, but like they're selling the fruit. I don't know how I feel about that. It's not like that. It's like, no, LinkedIn is empty. And you're talking about H-1Bs coming over here and getting the jobs that I went to college for. And then Elon basically said, hey,
What did he say?
y'all way too stupid to do these jobs, which is so out of pocket. That's so crazy. That, in a weird way, this whole ordeal almost made me feel kind of bad for MAGA as a movement, because when you think about it, a lot of why MAGA started is because, whether you want to put them in quotations as elites or like coastal elites or just people with money, those people for a long time, and this is something that I don't like, that I've seen for a long time, because it's a city rule thing that we do to each other a lot. Where there are a lot of city people that look down on like rural people in a rural lifestyle, because they're like, oh, you're not educated. But then the people in the rural areas look at city people and they're like, you actually can't keep yourself alive.
Stop it with the
Do you know what I mean? Like you're
commercials.
I know you've read more than me, but like, how do you, where does water come from? Tell me where water comes from. Oh, the bottle? Oh, okay. Oh, it comes from a bottle. That's cute. All right.
That's funny.
Because don't get me wrong, as well-educated city people who I've been around, I've lived in lots of different places, and I travel around the country as often as I can. So I do my best to meet everyone, so I can understand. I want to have as many pieces of the puzzle as I can to see where people are coming from, how we get places, right? And when I tell you that there are people who I know are very smart, very very intelligent people. Very smart people. But when you tell them that water comes from the ground, they look at you like, well, you must be drinking dirty water. Because
Stop. They
my
don't
Icelandic, no.
believe.
Guys, so Elon basically says y'all are like way too dumb to do these jobs. Like, I've seen your American schools, I've seen your colleges, and your colleges don't even match other countries' high schools. And the sort of general MAGA response
And you
to that
let
was
that
like,
man
well, okay,
in
but
office.
you agreed with us for the past like 4 or 5 years that the American college system was broken and that it's too woke and that we need to fix it and we need to change things up. And he was like, yeah, but you still dumb. Like that doesn't change. I don't think I yeah, I don't like it either, but that doesn't make you smarter that you went to a dumb school. And so then they lose it. And then MAGA was like, oh, okay, I didn't know you felt that way, you South African. It's hard to find a whiter man than Elon Musk. Like no, I mean like literally and figuratively in a sense, because very. You know what I mean? Like the sun, not a friend, right? But the way they were calling that dude African, just. You ever? Because they're like African, but then I'm an African American, and that I've never had racism miss me like the Matrix. That like nearly broke my brain, but they were like, "You African," and I was reading it like, "Oh yeah, that no." Wow. Okay. All right. Elon has the most money in the world, the richest man in the world, and this is how you know that the path to riches is a dead end, because this man has always had money, and he has more money than anybody. And he plays with different people. Sometimes he's number 2 for like a day. Sometimes he's number 1 for a week. But he's richest man in the world. It's safe to say, right? I'm sure somebody can pull me up 4 months from now and be like, actually, this other person. It's like, yeah, for 20 minutes. But like, it's richest person in the world, and he's still deeply, deeply missing everything about what a joyous life is. He's the richest person in the world, right? But out of all of that money that he has, all of the money he has almost all the money that he has, right? He has a cartoonish amount of money. All the money that he has, he wants nothing more. I can tell you this right now, just from watching his moves, just from watching him talk, just from watching how he's interacted, even in this little spat that he's having. I'm not saying that this is the end of MAGA or something, or that the Republican Party's gonna fall apart. I'm saying that just this glimpse. This dude has all of the money in the world. He can have anything that he wants, except acceptance, except like actually being in a room and knowing that everyone wants him in that room. He cannot buy being cool. He cannot buy genuineness. There are always going to be people who love Elon or think Elon's dope because they think that he's a genius, because they think that he is going to help them become like him, or just because he has money. But then when you strip all of that away, I don't know Elon, and I don't necessarily care for much of what he does, but I know a person hurting when I see it. Do you know what I mean? I know like a hurt individual when I see it. And this dude has not stopped tweeting since they call him a South African, like since it happened, they have been coming for this dude's neck nonstop. And it's like sometimes I don't know. Sometimes you see something you're like, oh, that's a lot. You know what I mean? Like, I'll tell you how I feel about what's happening to Elon right now. And you may, all right, this may just be me, but there's a video online of this guy. This is right when the Popeyes chicken sandwich dropped. Okay, and if you remember that was a time to be alive. You would think that Popeyes didn't serve chicken. You would think that something revolutionary was happening because they took the chicken that they already sell and they put 2 buns on either side of that chicken. And people ready to fight over this chicken sandwich, and they were running out, not of chicken, of the sandwich, which means they were only running out of bread. And people were losing their minds over it. They could not. What do you mean you want a chicken sandwich? I waited in this line for 5 hours to get this chicken sandwich just to bite a piece of chicken and with bread on either side of it. I've been waiting all day to have chicken sandwich. Meanwhile, Chick-fil-A was next door being like, y'all, we hear all the time. Like, it's like, nobody wants that right now. I want the Popeyes chicken sandwich. And so there's a video where this guy is, I believe he's at Georgia. He might be in Atlanta, which also makes this thing.
What?
Very poor judgment. But this dude is in Atlanta. So he's a white dude, right? And everyone else in the Popeyes is black, and I don't know how long he's been waiting. I don't know why he's so mad, but he's stomping around, right? And he's stomping around and getting in people's faces and stuff. He's like, "Where's my sandwich?" And then finally he goes up to somebody. He's like, "Get out of my way now!" And then like he's just going back and forth, right? And then finally his sandwich is ready. He snatches the sandwich. He's like, "Give it to me!" And then he pushes somebody out of the way, and the person filming him is just like, "Oh no, oh no." Fast forward like 5 seconds, maybe 10. He's in the parking lot, sort of folded up. Because somebody beat his ass. Because, you know, yeah. And so then, and not only are they beating his ass, but he's clearly folded up and sitting down now, and they still put a hand on his shoulder just to create leverage, and are like uppercutting him a couple times, right? And so then after like the second or third uppercut, they walk off with his bag, and the person filming goes, "Oh, y'all ain't gotta take a sandwich though." Which is weirdly, I don't know, which is a very short, but a very poignant, like lesson about racism, or at least how people.
So, ladies and gentlemen, how are you? Are you enjoying the comedy? To be very honest, I listen, and some of the jokes they flow over my head because I don't get the reference. But I have arrived to 1, 2, 3, 4. I have made 4 rows with this lemony, basically very similar to lemon yellow. So now I have to switch colors. So I'm looking at the previous blanket. So I need to do this pink color. I have it right here. I hold it double with lighter pink and more pastel pink with some like a silver thread through it. Oh my god, look, it's a whole mess. So let's try and find the beginning, and maybe I can start a new row. Hold on, what did I do here? What is happening? This is so typical me. I do not understand why I always make a yarn knot. There it is. This is the old version and this is the new version. So let's make the new. Okay, hold on. I have my trusty scissor right here. Let's cut. And let's wind back so that we don't have more yarn spaghetti over here. Hold on, like this. Again, I swear to God, this is like my My whole life is just knots. Okay. 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 Finally got it all cleared up. I'm just gonna make a naughty nod. There's something in my way over here. Hold on, let me double check if I have 10. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I do have 10, so let's start the row. Let's hide the knot. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you see, I started a new color, so I have to make 4 rows with this new color. Not gonna lie, this is gonna be a bit more difficult because I'm holding 2 strands and both of them are a bit fluffy. That's why they keep making knots, because fluffy and fluffy hold to each other, you know, they just find themselves and hold it. Okay. 2, 3, 4. Let's listen 5 more minutes and then I have to go and do more chores and get ready for tomorrow. Tomorrow is my birthday. I'm so excited. I have such confusing thoughts about tomorrow. I dislike celebrating my birthday so much. It's like pulling teeth for me. But you know, with growing up, with aging, you understand that you gotta make an effort. You gotta make an effort and celebrate your age and celebrate your accomplishments, because life is short and time is passing. And if you continue to have these regrets, you're just gonna be left with regrets, no good memories. So I am making an effort to make good memories so that I can, you know, enjoy tomorrow, enjoy my birthday. So for tomorrow, I have 2 appointments already, um, which are, you know, for health reasons. I don't know if you've been here before, but I shared that I'm on a journey to lose weight. I'm on a journey to decrease my cortisol, cholesterol, and all that stress hormones. And I'm on a journey to maybe buy something tomorrow for me, which again is a weird thing because I hate shopping. I hate it. Spending my own money on anything is so painful because I am independent financially for a very long time, and I work so hard for this money and I do not want to spend it, especially on me. I don't need anything, but you know, it's my birthday. So I want to buy myself something nice. But then the challenge is I don't need anything. I already have clothes on my back. I have a blanket. I could buy yarn, but I already have way too much yarn. Way too much. It's over my expectations. So I am trying not to buy yarn tomorrow. 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. So the solution would be to buy like a new shirt. I'm working, I'm a young professional. I wear shirts every time, every day, and I could use a new shirt. Especially since I grew in size, all my current shirts sort of don't button well and they just look odd. So I could buy a shirt. We'll see. We'll see tomorrow. We shall see. We shall see. 10 more minutes and then we go.
Like lesson about racism, or at least how people who experience racism treat the people who are racist towards them, right? Because even in this hateful thing, there's this line that's like, oh, okay, but that was enough.
What?
Do you know what I mean? And so when there are people who rarely or never experience racism, and it's a new feeling, it's a new type of anger, it's a new type of hurt. They're not gonna know what's enough because they're not practiced in what it feels like to find a level with it.
What? Commercials. Oh my
In
god.
what it feels like to
Also, for tomorrow, for my birthday, I really want some cake, but I'm on a weight loss journey, so I am negotiating with myself whether I should get like a tiramisu, which is very light, low calorie, or whether I should get like fruits and jello. I would love some tiramisu, but the tiramisu that I buy locally made here by a small company, it's so fat and so delicious. Maybe I'll buy myself one of those big slices. Ooh. And by the way, do you guys do that where if I eat a slice of cake or if I eat a slice of pizza or if I eat something that is not supposed it's not part of my healthy eating, as a like as a payoff, as a I don't want to call it a punishment because I don't see it as a punishment, but as a trade-off, right? I need to walk more during that day in order to burn the calories of the additional slice of cake. So I might walk to the small business place and purchase the tiramisu cake and then walk back. Ooh, that's gonna be tough. That's gonna be about 10 kilometers in addition to, my regular. Oh, that could be wonderful. Or I can go tomorrow morning after my first appointment because between the first appointment and the second, I have some free time. So I might do that. Oof, it's gonna be tough. That is going to be tough. We'll see if I'll be in the mood for cake tomorrow. As I said, I avoid celebrating myself, so it might just be like a regular day. I have a bunch of appointments. I might just like run around the city, trying to do my best with my appointments. We'll see. What do we think? What do we think? Ooh. So, a few more minutes. Let's listen to a few more minutes and then we go.
find a level with it. Do you know what I mean?
What was he
There are
talking
things that are happening
about?
in the world, and they're sick and they're racist, and then it's not something that you can always change or resolve, but you have to move on with your life. You have to live, so you can fight back as best you can, and you can distance yourself as best you can, create safety as best you can, but that will be out there. So when when like someone who is not used to the practice of dealing with that thing feels it for the first time. Nothing will ever be enough. And so because nothing is enough, they went after Elon in a way where I was like, oh, y'all ain't got to do all that.
Oh, he's talking about Elon Musk.
Because they hurt Elon feeling so bad that this dude went on a burner account on Twitter and joined Space. If you don't know what Spaces are, it's where you can talk. It's literally just like this chat room, this like audio chat room where everybody can talk, or just the moderator can talk or whatever. And he went in this audio chat room with a voice modulator and started defending himself with the voice modulator, being like, actually, like Elon, like a good person and stuff, like. Y'all actually being hella out of pocket when it comes to Elon. That's not fair at all what y'all said. And you especially were very rude. And I would say it'd be helpful if y'all would like apologize to Elon, because I don't know him at all, but he seems like a reasonable dude. So if y'all like would chill out, I'm sure he would forgive you and stuff. Like, he a cool guy. And I don't know what was said. I do not know what happened. But something was said that was so, I'm assuming, hateful or out of pocket or just wrong that I don't know how this happened. All I know is Elon apparently, because this is all hearsay. I watched the thing and I'm 90% sure it's real, but like apparently this dude got so mad he either got his mouth too far from the voice modulator or turned it off, because then this dude in his full Elon voice was like, wait, watch who you talking to right now. Like, he like fully dropped it. He was like, well, forget y'all too then. I hate everybody in here. Y'all can all go to hell. Because then Vivek also tweets one of the oddest, first of all, it's too long. This is another thing that happened, because as soon as they took that like 150 character sort of like thing off of Twitter, and it kind of killed the thread of Twitter, because the thread was how you knew you were telling a good story. Like the thread, I've read threads that were 220 parts, because every part, there was no fat on that story. The whole thing is so insane, and every 140 characters keeps you hooked for the next 140 characters. I've read Twitter threads that should be movies, right? Because you had to use an economy of word. You had to actually be a writer to convey your ideas, and you did it in the long. I was scrolling for the entire afternoon, and even when I got to the end, I was like, damn.
Can you stop with the commercials?
And now, you can just do the whole thing. So then Vivek does this whole thing, and he's like, basically, if America wants to win, and if Americans want to win, and by the way, when I say Americans for a little while here, when I say Americans, just there's a subtext for everyone talking that they mean white Americans. Just so you know, because sometimes people say Americans, and then well-meaning people go, no, we're all. And I'm like, all right. So Vivek is like, if Americans want to win, then, it comes down to culture. And right now, your culture is trash. It's basically a bunch of jocks looking at people who read like they're the dumb ones, even though the jocks are the dumb ones. And we're obsessed with like, I don't know, like pretty stuff, shiny stuff and everything. And if you pick up some books, and if you do a little less, I don't know, like Instagram, whatever you do, maybe you'll be worth hiring. That's at least how it sounded. And I was not that pressed about the whole Vivek thing. One, because I knew he wasn't talking to me. And two, because I've heard this sort of thing my entire life. No one is more used to this type of condescension than black people. You know what I mean? Because with black people, we're the ones where we're like, hey, I did all the stuff you said to do. I went to the right school, actually got a scholarship. I did the internship, and I'm passionate about this field. Can I get a job? And they're like, ah. We already have a black. His name is Mike, because he tricked us. We already have a... Look, we would hire you. But the boss's dumbest cousin needs a job. And so we're going to have to give it to him. But, I don't know, keep applying. And then maybe if Mike dies, we'll need a black. So then you can do it. Do you know what I mean? Like that's just a general reality. And so to hear Vivek talk to white people like this was wild. That was so iconic because the comments were all like, but I did all the stuff, and he's like, yeah, no, I know, but you're dumb. Like I don't know what to tell you. I would never hire you, you know? And he doesn't say that. He doesn't say that exactly, but that's what he implies throughout the whole thing. And then he stops responding because it's thousands of people. But I don't know. There were so many people that came out and they were like, look, what the whole reason that we joined this MAGA movement, the whole reason that we thought Trump being in office was a good thing is because it would mean more good jobs for Americans. And look, if you genuinely believed that, then I don't, you know what I mean? Like, no, I'm not being a dick. I'm saying, like, if you genuinely believe that, then, like, oof, that's bad. You know how... This happened. This thing happened, and I really... I worry sometimes. I think about this a lot. And I think about this with every like topic that I talk about, or any joke I tell, or story I decide to talk about. That like, I would like to believe that like, I would like to believe that empathy, compassion, and kindness are the way forward, and will get us somewhere. I don't know if that's true. I want that to be true. I think if you make your obsessions, community, culture, connection, and compassion, then I think that there's a way forward. You know, I don't know if that is right. It might be incorrect. It's what I've chosen my best to do, and I'm a human, so I'm probably going to mess it up a lot. But one thing that happens in my mind, what I think of when I think of MAGA, is a story from when I was just getting out of high school. It might have even been my first year of college. No. It was like my second year of college, right? And I was getting off a shift at this restaurant that I worked at, and my friends were picking me up. And when they picked me up, we would hang out on the weekend, you know, all the times that I was back at home, which is where the restaurant that I would work for extra money was. So I would leave college, I'd come back home, work a shift, and then spend the weekend with my friends. And that particular day when they picked me up, I knew I was spending the night at one of their houses. But when they picked me up, they're like, hey, I live in Alexandria at the time. They're like, hey, we're going to, I think we went to Opelousas or Leesville or something, which is like an hour and a half away or a couple hours away. And when I get in the car, they say this. And I'm like, why are we going to Leesville? And my buddy's like, it's a surprise, right? And so then we get all the way over there. Now, my second friend in the car is about to go away to seminary. So I went to a Catholic school for high school, and you know, I actually like treasure it as an experience, not because of any sort of like religious teaching, but because it gave me a little bit more insight into how people think and how the people around me thought about me and about the world, right? But then there were some people that went to the school that were like, yeah, we'll do this forever. And he was one of them. He was like, I'll just be a priest, because that was his track, right? And so then we get to where we're going, and it's a strip club.
Cu Icon mereu vei ști cine te sună chiar dacă n-ai numărul în contactele tale.
Strip club. And so my one buddy had decided that because our second friend was about to go be a priest, he should at least see Teddy, just to be sure. Just in case. That he should see what they, you know, that they round and beautiful and so. And so then, you know, we go inside, and I'm okay. I'm also like taking a back. Like my friend that's going to seminary is like, actually, I guess I'm going to hell, because he's looking around. He's like, right? I'm just generally slightly uncomfortable, because it took me. I was like a late bloomer, sort of like accepting myself and like accepting my, I guess the way I come off to people and stuff. And so I'm still like this awkward, tight. You know, as soon as I walk in, right? I'm nervous, and he's nervous for like different reasons. He's like, you know what I mean? And so then our buddy who took us, who was driving, buys my friend who's going to seminary lap dance, and so It's not just any lap dance. It's a lap dance in the private room. And so I was like, you gonna get that boy a heart attack, and then he gonna die, and then he gonna be there, and then be like, look, I did everything right, but I will say I did die at a strip club. That shouldn't even be on me because I didn't know we were going there. But she started rubbing up on me, and it was too perfect. I thought it was one of your angels, all right? And so then I got excited, and then my left arm started to hurt a little bit, and now I'm here. But that shouldn't even be on me, okay? I didn't drive myself. I didn't do it. And so then, he goes private room, lap dance, and he comes out of the room, a new man. The dude comes out of the room. I don't know what happened in the room. I'm assuming dancing, but this dude walks out of the room like he had to do all the dancing. He walked out the room disheveled. And he goes up to our friend and he's like, do you have money for one more dance? My friend pays for another dance and he goes back.
How much is a dance?
While he's in the
though?
room, I had my own journey. Because I was at the strip club and I was just sipping on a Sprite because this is back when I still drank soda. I had to quit. It's too spicy. It generally burns my chest. Like it's too much, right? But back in the day, I would hit a Sprite, and so I was sipping all this Sprite, and this one dancer walks by, and she does this thing where she basically like massages the back of my neck as she's walking by. But I am not used to being in strip clubs. I'm also not used to people coming on to me, so I thought it was a spider. So I thought it was a spider, so I started swinging, and I didn't hit anything, but I still was like. Then later, another dancer came over, and she sat across from me. She was like, "Hey, how you doing?" I was like, "I'm good." She's like, "What's your name?" I was like, "I'm Josh." And she's like, "What brought you into that?" I was like, "Oh, my friend, he's gonna go to seminary." And so we brought him here
First.
to make sure. I don't really know what the plan is. And she's like, "Oh, okay, yeah, that's a funny story. You're funny." And I was like, I didn't say anything funny. He's like, "Oh, well, you're kind of cute." And I was like, "Oh, thank you." So you want to buy me a drink? And I was like, "Oh, yeah, sure. Do you want a Sprite?" I'm drinking a Sprite. And then she smiled, very sweet smile, and then she got up and pushed her chair in and walked over to some of the other dancers. And she was, I don't know if she knew I could hear her. There was music playing, so I know she was yelling it to let them know, but I was still within earshot when she said, but then she gets up and she goes to the other lady. She's like, "Oh, y'all, don't worry. He's slow. Don't."
Okay, stop it. Okay. I am very ready to go and get ready for tomorrow, but I'm very happy that I made half a row. As you can tell, this blanket is quite wide. So half a row is not bad at all. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here with me. Hold on, let me check the comments. What did I do? Oh my god, I pressed on something. Let me check the comments before I go. Vimas Crochet says hi, hello. Rashad Saleh says hi, hello. Shetika Woods, hello. I missed your message, blessings. Yana Shevchenko says, Mom, Mama. Thank you. That was probably when I had my dog. He knows that if he will come to my lap and push my hand from the crochet, I will just give in and, pet him a little bit. All the others are all covered. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. It was very nice. My favorite comment tonight was Bulka Bulka Barabulka. Let me Google. What does that mean? Oh, wait, I have to write in Russian. Oh gosh. Bulka. Bulka. Bulka Barabulka. Okay. What? Hold on. What? It's a song? Булька-булька, барабулька, кто поет, бабушка. Oh my god. Who are these fat kids? Somebody called me this name. Well, I am on a journey to lose weight, so I'm not gonna get offended. Okay, thank you so much for watching and spending this time with me. I really appreciate it. Hold on. Should I wait until it's a round number? No, I don't. I don't think it's necessary. Thank you so much and have a nice evening. Have a good Friday. Have a good Saturday. Happy crochet, happy knitting, happy weekend. It's the weekend, baby. Bye bye. Bye bye.